from the streets of Cincinnati, welcome to the jungle! Let's go. Stripes, 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 yeah, stripes, 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 orange in the day, black in the night, stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly, the beast is awake, orange, black and white, cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite in our stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin' who they, time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move dancing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock them, yeah we got them, yeah we fought them. Like that black and orange up on them, bingo bottom, never stop it till the beast on feasting on them. Who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen, we gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night, stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white, cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite and Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move dancing on? Now who wanna move on? All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Jackpot Joey Burrow and the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor. If you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. I'm up to 1,671 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, do me a favor. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitter and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. And as always in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chats. So if you like to support what I'm doing or make sure your comment or question gets read, give me a super chat. I would greatly appreciate it. And as always, coming to you live from the Ice Cave. And the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, guys. Big couple of days here. We had the schedule release last night. I was at the Sam Hubbard Fulling tournament. I actually got to play. I did pretty good. Me and Corey, we did pretty good. We won 2 out of 3 games, and then until I got beat by Bengal Jim and Dale again. I'm like, I need to beat those guys. I want a rematch. I got to get better. I was sucking at it. I wasn't very good at the beginning of it, but I got better. And then we had the emergence of the Bengals bridge crew again today, starting again this year. We had Bengals rookie camp. So I got out there and I did a video of it. So if you guys missed that, check it out. It's on the channel. I was out there earlier today, got to talk to Zach Taylor, got to talk to Lou and Rumo, got to talk to our favorite special teams coach, Darren Simmons. Not Zach, but Darren and Lou said they come on my show. We'll see what happens. I'm working on emailing them and trying to narrow down when I can get him on. But I do have this confirmed. May 27th, I will have former Reds pitcher Bronson Arroyo on the show. He'll be on here live. So make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so you know when that's happening. Anyway, it's Friday. The weekend's about to start. Let's get to one of my favorite guests. He's AC. He's from the Orange and Black Insider podcast. And you know, he's the godfather of Bengals podcast. Let's get to AC. Anthony, what's going on, brother? Uh-oh. Can't hear you.
Oh, how you doing, Jeff?
Good, man. Good. What's up, Godfather?
Oh, Godfather. I got to tell you, I'm not feeling quite like the Godfather these days because you guys are booking so many awesome guests. It's getting a little jealous over here. My blue eyes are turning green.
Well, I haven't gotten Lou Anarumo or Darren Simmons yet. They said they would. Now, the funny thing is when I saw Darren today, he was talking to Drew Christensen, and there wasn't any barriers there, which was cool. So I'm kind of standing there going, Darren, hey, Darren. And he finally looks over and he goes, as soon as he looked at it, he goes, oh, man. He goes, I got to get on your podcast. I'm like, I know. So hopefully he'll hit me up.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, and I saw our boy Willie Lutz was rubbing elbows with DJ Reader last night, I think. And yeah, you guys are just – I'm sitting out here in California lonely. I don't get all the Bengal guys out here. You know what I'm saying? So
I was hanging out with DJ, hung out with Cam Sample, hung out with Sam Hubbard. I did not.
No big deal. No big deal
at all. No, I did not get a picture of Sam Hubbard's butt like Dale Altman's wife wanted me to. It was a little awkward, but he did see the tweet, but I did not do that. I didn't go there. Anyway, I want to get to this $1.99 super chat from Rabbit. I love it. Thank you. He said, Who Day, happy 513 day. Exactly. Today's the greatest day in the history of Cincinnati. It's happy 513 day. You know, I know it doesn't count for you because you're not in the 513, but you know, you're a surrogate. We'll
I am celebrating 513 day instead of Friday the 13th. I'm spinning this into a positive, right?
Exactly.
We're gonna do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we do here. That's what we do.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony. So let's go with the schedule here. The schedule came out. And the rumor was, now I never said it was confirmed. I'm glad I didn't. that the Bengals were going to play the Cowboys, you know, on Thanksgiving. Well, that turned out to be a complete fake account, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, just selfishly speaking, it's just, you know, doing some work and obviously trying to concentrate on that is just, you know, would be difficult. And I don't, you know, I don't envy some of the people that, you know, have to actually do that on a regular basis, being that a yearly thing, the Dallas Cowboys covering them and whatnot. But yeah, I just selfishly speaking, I'm kind of glad that was. I mean, it would have been cool. There would have been some luster to it, and you kind of would have been, you know, pretty stoked to see him on that platform. But I mean, for the most part, selfishly, I'm just kind of glad that, you know, that day is a little more family, friends oriented or holiday oriented, and not so much football centric. At least. Football's always a big part of Thanksgiving. You know
always. But you don't have to it's different.
Right.
Watch it. It's totally different.
Right.
Now, see, selfishly, for me, I was hoping that the Bengals would play the Buccaneers prime time Thursday or Thanksgiving night because I'm already going to be in Florida. And I told my sister-in-law 2 years ago that I'm coming down for that game. So I was going to try to save myself a trip, but it didn't happen. So selfishly, I was hoping the Bengals would play on Thanksgiving, but against the Buccaneers. Anyway.
Well, you've got 8 in the fold at least, right? Because you got the season tickets. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm there for every game. I got one more payment, and my tickets are paid off, and I'm ready to go. Now, I had a question on chat. Are you? I know you said you're planning on coming to at least one game. You got to narrow down which game you're coming to.
In Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Man, there's a couple. I was actually, you know, that week one again. I went week one last year, as you know, and that was just way fun. And then this year, that wasn't even a team they play very often last year in the Minnesota Vikings. So it's like this year they host the Steelers week one. I have not been to a live Bengals Steelers game ever. So that was one I'm kind of like, that's pretty tempting. And then, you know, late in the year, I've got one of my good buds is a Buffalo Bills guy. So, you know, that Monday nighter at the end, Bills day after New Year's. Oh boy, I don't know what kind of resolutions I'd be breaking by going to that game, but you know, that one is really, really intriguing to me. You know, the Thursday nighter against Miami is really interesting to me too, just because of the star power the quarterbacks in the same draft class, Tua and Joe Burrow. Obviously, much more pressure on Tua to perform this year, given what they've surrounded him with. So that one's pretty interesting to me too. But I think the home ones, I've kind of narrowed it down as of right now. Probably two, either one of the ones at the very end of the year or to kick off the season for a home game, at least for me getting out there. And then I may make it to a couple road games. I'm looking at the New Orleans one. I'm looking at maybe a couple of others as well that Tampa, I think that one interested me too. So we'll see.
Dude, if you go down to Tampa, we're hooking up. We're gonna hang out before. That'll be a good time.
Yeah, you gotta show me around. I've been to Orlando. I've been to a couple other places in Florida, but not specifically Tampa Bay.
Yeah, like I said, I've been going to Tampa Bay for the last 25 years. I lived there for the first year and a half of us being married, and this Ohio boy, it was too hot and too flat for me. I know everybody's like, "You want to come back to Ohio?" Like, yes, I did. You walk out of the house and it's 9,000 degrees at 6:00 in the morning. Yeah, that's too hot for me, especially in December, man. I'm like, these people are walking around in these winter coats and stuff. And I'm going shorts and a t-shirt. I'm like, are you cold? Like, oh my goodness. Anyway, we'll definitely have the hookup for now. That, like I said, the Tampa Bay one is one that I'm definitely going to go to. The one I'm looking forward to is the Buffalo game because one, me and my boys from the Bengals and Brew podcast and the Goodberries. Well, I think we're going to do this. It's kind of tongue in cheek, but we said we're going to do the Buffalo Cincinnati Olympics, and the opening ceremony is we're going to put power bomb Orange Arrow through a table. So,
there you go. I like it. I like it.
I don't know if all that's going to happen or not, but either I'm looking forward to the game. That's going to be a fun game to go to.
That'll be a fun one. Obviously, I kind of said it before, the kind of bromance between the fan bases of Buffalo and the Bengals. And then it's kind of getting a little weird with the Jets and the Bengals because there's a lot of connections there between former players and whatnot. So that's getting a little odd. And those two teams face each other this year too. So
exactly.
I think it's shaping up to be a fun schedule, man, though. After that bye, you better, if you're the Bengals, you got to take care of business. That becomes a really difficult stretch. You come right out of the bye with a road game, a primetime road game with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like I probably have the order because I don't have it right in front of me. But I mean,
I think I got it.
Oh, that's the free agent. That's the free agent sightings. No.
Okay, sorry about that.
There you go. Yeah. So you got road game Steelers. I knew Tennessee was after that. So road game Tennessee, home game Chiefs, home game Browns, away game Tampa Bay, away game New England, home game Buffalo, home game Baltimore. I mean, I know we know that the Bengals, and we feel that the Bengals are going to have a good season there, but those 8 games to end the season, where's the break? I mean,
there isn't one.
You kind of look at the first part of the schedule and you go, well, who are the Jets really? Are the Cowboys going to take a step backwards? You've got Carolina in there, you've got Atlanta in there, and those should kind of be wins, you feel like. And then, you get to that bye and you go, okay, right in the middle, you like that, rest up right in the middle of the season. And then it's just like, oh, let's get down to business. So, Steelers are beatable. Browns will be tough, but they seem to be beatable. The Bengals proved that they can beat Tennessee and Kansas City twice last year. So, they have a lot of things on their resume that make you feel pretty confident about how that last half could go. But that's a tough stretch, man. I saw that and I was just like, whoa.
Well, I'm kind of okay with it that we start off kind of slow because the end of the season, I mean, we're going to have to play all these teams anyway. But the end of the season, you're getting into playoff mode. So to me, if you can go and win most of those games toward the end, that's going to bode well to getting you prepared for the playoff run. So I'm kind of okay with it, but it is going to be a gauntlet. I mean, there's no joke about it. Now, the one that I'm kind of surprised that isn't a primetime game, it's 4:25 game, is the Bengals Chiefs game. I thought for sure that might be a Monday night or Sunday night game or something, but it's 4:25. Now, last year they said it got, I think, 60% of the viewership or something like that. They're saying for the 1 o'clock game last year. So what's the viewership of that going to be at 4:25 next year? Or this year,
I was interested in that one. I thought for sure that was going to be a prime timer. I thought Tennessee had a chance to be a prime time game. Instead, I think they went with all 3 divisional games, and I think all of them are on the road, right? Yeah. I mean, I think all of those the primetime games that they should. Thank you for bringing that up to me. I should have done my proper homework and had it in front of me here, but I was just.
I don't even. That only thing I got
by memory.
Yeah. So I got to look at it on the screen too with you. So
No,
yeah.
but I mean, you look at it though. That's the thing, man. I mean, it's away game Baltimore, away game Pittsburgh, and then you got the other away game in Cleveland in between those two matchups, and all three of those are on the road, and in prime time. So they opted to go that route, and they think that the AFC North is probably going to be very competitive again this year for the fact that all three of those were scheduled in prime time as opposed to a Chiefs or Tennessee game. But you got to figure if the Chiefs and the Bengals both are doing well in a game, I'd have to look at who they do have scheduled that week of December, early December there, middle December there.
Yeah.
And you have to look and see who's scheduled, and maybe that gets flexed into things later in the year. But I was a little surprised by that. But hey, I mean, also some of these networks, they like to keep some of those premium games too. I mean, they got to kind of balance the scales. They can't keep taking every single one of these great matchups
Right.
Away from Fox, CBS, that sort of thing. So, they probably hung on to that. And sometimes those late games, particularly when it's a matchup like that, it kind of feels kind of mini prime time-ish, right?
Right. Now, the one thing for me as a season ticket holder, only stinks the first 6 games. We only got 2 at home. So we got a lot of road games at the beginning of the season. So just selfishly, I'm like, I'd like to have at least one more there at home. But down the stretch, a lot of them there. I mean, if you look at the last line there, the last was that 6 games, we only got 2 of them on the road. That's the Buccaneers and the Patriots. So that bodes well, I think, for the end of the season, but have more home games at the end, rolling into hopefully the playoffs and hopefully a long playoff run again.
So a lot of good news, bad news with that, right? I mean, when you
yeah.
look at the front half, like you mentioned, the 5 road games as opposed to the 4 home games, the 5, and this kind of comes part and parcel with how the schedule falls in a 17-game schedule. Last year, the Bengals had the 1 extra home game. This year, they have the 1 extra road game. So we kind of knew that was coming. So that's kind of part of it. But, and you look at the bottom there too, like you said, of those 6 games, 4 of them are at home against really tough, seemingly tough opponents. The 2 on the road, though, my goodness, it's like 2 really difficult matchups you would assume there. But again, good news, bad news. If we're going to do good news, bad news, good news, bad news.
Right.
Good news, the Bengals are one of the teams that travel the least amount of geographical miles in terms of their scheduling this year. I think they were like 6th easiest in that regard.
I had that up earlier and I took it down. I don't have it on the computer anymore. I had those exact stats and I took them off.
Yeah, so it's something to that effect. And of course, you know who travels the least amount of miles in all?
Who? Who's that?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, of course.
They travel the least. Yeah.
No, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But another topic for another time.
Exactly. Now, like I said, I think I was listening to Dan Horde, and I think he said, or maybe it was Daner, I don't remember. Somebody said that we have finished the end of the season with the Baltimore Ravens since they've become they turned into the Baltimore Ravens more than any other team in the NFL. Like almost every year we end with the Ravens. It's amazing. I'm looking forward to the match. I'm looking forward to all these matchups. Like none of these matchups scare me. Like none of them really scared me last year, but with the additions that the Bengals have made this year, I'm really looking forward with the addition of the offensive line and all the speed we got in the secondary. I think they're all good matchups. I think the Bengals have a very good shot at winning most of these games. I mean, I haven't broke it down yet to do a prediction of wins and losses yet this year, but I got a good feeling we could get maybe between 10 to 12 wins out of that. I think. I know it's gonna be tough, but I think it's doable.
I think 12 is on the high side, and it's kind of around what I actually have them at right now. I think 12 is on the high side. I think you're right. 10 is on the low side, and I think, Lindsay right there, 11-6. I think that you meet right in the middle there, and that's very doable. It's weird when you say that. Only maybe the same amount of wins, 1 win, 2 wins more than last year.
Right.
You kind of look at that and you go, how big of an improvement really is that for the team? But I view this schedule as just as it is on paper. And I know there's conflicting ideas on, strength of schedule and that whole thing. But I mean, you look at it and I mean, it's tough, particularly, like I said, that last half is pretty tough. So, that's,
I mean, to me, Anthony, the key is getting the number one seed this year. That's, to me, that's the whole key, more than the record. Now, I know the record has a lot to do with getting the number one seed, but also more of what you do in the AFC North and against the AFC opponents. So to me, that is the number one goal more than, 10, 11 wins is get that number one seed and make everybody come to the jungle to go to the Super Bowl. I think that's the key to this year. I think that's what now last year they went on the road and won the first, literally they won the first playoff road game in franchise history, and they did it twice last year. So, which is awesome. So they can do it. But if we can get them to come through the jungle next year, I think that's the goal that the team is set for themselves.
Yeah, and I think that week, I guess it's week 18, still feels weird saying that, but week 18, Ravens at Bengals there. I'm pretty convinced that not only will that be for the division, but that'll also probably be one team's getting the division and the other team's getting the wild card,
right.
Or a wild card spot. So I'm pretty convinced that as we sit here right now, and this division is going to beat up on each other. And I know a lot of people are picking the Steelers to be in last. I probably would right now be inclined to agree with that, but
it's still the Steelers,
it's the
man.
Steelers. Look who they were last year, and they still made the playoffs last year.
Right.
So it's like I don't know.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I'm like it's still the Steelers. I hope we beat their ass like we did last year, and I think we got a great shot at doing it. But it's still the Steelers. Now, one thing I'll say is you said that the Ravens and Bengals game at the end of the year could be going for the number one seed wild card. I was kind of thinking that about last year's schedule with the Browns. I thought that game was going to be playoff implicated, but it turned out to be no. It wasn't. We already clinched.
Sit out time.
It was sit out. Yeah, and which Browns fans go, oh well, we beat you twice last year. I'm like, well, okay, the last game we freaking gave it to you and
asterisk on that.
Yeah, could have cared less if we won or lost. Didn't even want to play the game, to be honest.
Right.
So yeah, but I do agree with you. I think this year, and you got to look at this. Baltimore is not going to get as injured as they were last year. There's no way that's going to happen again, and that's going to help them out a lot. Now, the matchup with Baltimore, I think, is interesting with the amount of DBs that we added. Is they don't have a deep threat, but they are going to be tight end heavy. And I think our DBs, we got a lot of DBs now that can cover the tight ends, hence Trey Flowers. So I think that's a good matchup for the Bengals still, and Lou Anarumo getting his mad scientist and start mixing and matching some stuff up. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see that matchup because they don't have, a quote unquote deep threat right now.
They do not, but the Ravens want to be physical.
Yeah.
And you can see with the tight ends that they invested in, they just brought in Mike Davis, the running back from Atlanta there.
Right.
Not anybody who's incredibly flashy or a Pro Bowl player, but just tough runner, right? Just kind of get upfield, get yards, and that's what they want to do. They are getting back Dobbins. They are getting back their other running back right now who Gus Edwards as well, who again, kind of a one-cut guy, get upfield and make it happen. And they're gonna make no bones about it. They are going to want to pound the ball. They're going to want to move the chains with the tight ends, and they're going to try and be incredibly efficient in the red zone once they get there with those same groups of players, the running backs and the tight ends. They are making a concerted effort to get those position groups shored up and involved in the offense this year. And so the Bengals, to your point, they kind of countered that with a lot of athletic defensive backs, bringing back some and drafting others. So, it's kind of point counterpoint, and we'll see exactly what happens there. But I like you said, I think the Ravens definitely did. I really liked what they did in the draft. And I feel like even if the injury bug hits them hard again this year, now they've got a lot more windfall, it would seem, than they had in the past, at least last year when the injuries were just decimating them across the roster. So they're going to be a tough out as well. But I said this on my schedule reaction show last night. I'm hopeful, and I'm thinking that teams now, when they look at the Bengals on their schedule, it's not just like, let's W that one, right? It's like, oh boy, we got to go to Cincinnati. Oh boy, they're kind of, so it's while we have this mindset, oh man, the AFC North's tough, man, that back half of the schedule's tough. Other teams are likely looking at the Bengals saying, man, Burrow and company coming to town, that's going to be a rough one. So
exactly.
You got to take that perspective too.
Exactly. Now, I can give a shout out to Dale Altman and my boy Orange Arrow. They got uh Clark Harris, the what'd you call the god of
Hey,
thunder.
leave the scraps for some of us around here. You guys are getting all these celebs and all this stuff, man.
Yeah, he's gonna be on their show. Well, see, I talked to him last night, and I was screwing around with Arrow and Dale. I took a picture with him. What I did, I talked to Clark, and I said, "Hey, man, I said you're gonna come on my boys' podcast, Bengals Breeze." Oh yeah, I gotta call them back or whatever, DM back. So I took a picture and I sent it to Arrow and Dale. I said, "Look who I got coming on my show this week." They're like, "Ah, you suck." But no, I didn't do that to them. He's coming on their show Saturday
That's
night.
awesome.
So we'll
That's
definitely
awesome.
have tune in for that.
I'll have to tune in. Yeah.
Now back to the Ravens here. Now Jarvis Landry, from what I'm being told, is signing with the Saints, so that keeps him from going to Baltimore. Because dude, no wide receivers want to go to Baltimore. It's unbelievable how many they can't get. So I think it's where one of the reasons they just said screw it, we're going to go tight end heavy. So we don't have to worry about Jarvis Landry in the division anymore. So that's a good thing. But I mean,
I actually felt like he would have been a great fit there, though.
Right.
Just because when you look at what the Ravens have done, they've either drafted extremely slight framed, fast guys, or they've brought in steady, veteran, possession type pass catchers. You look at Bolden. Steve Smith did a little bit of everything, but you look at Bolden, you look at Crabtree, you look at all these guys that they've brought in. And so Landry, what I felt like was going to be, hey, that'll play into Lamar Jackson's wheelhouse. Maybe he could take the occasional deep ball, but work in the middle of the field, making the tough catches like he always does, and it is a really reliable target. I just felt that made a lot of sense. So it was either the money or the lack of statistics or what have you, or both. I would think if you're looking to win, Baltimore's got for a free agent, you're kind of saying, well, that's got to be one. If they're interested in me, they got to be kind of close to the top of the list because that's a really well-run franchise. But something there wasn't making sense.
They never. I mean, nobody like Juju Smith was rumored to go there last year. I mean, there's so many wide receivers last year they tried to get, and none of them went to Baltimore. So, and I don't necessarily think it's against Lamar Jackson. It's more of the way they play. They don't throw the ball deep. They just don't. I mean, that's the reason Hollywood Brown wanted to get out of there. I mean, they just don't. So, but one I was surprised about, and we kind of talked about this on my show this week, was the Browns game. I wasn't sure if that was going to be put in prime time or not. But not only is it not prime time, it's actually a Monday night game if I'm remembering right. Because I have my glasses on, I can't see this, but I'm pretty sure it's a Monday night game. That kind of surprised me, just because of everything that's going on with Deshaun Watson. You don't know if he's going to be playing or what's going on with that, so that kind of leads me to believe, are they going to suspend him at all? Or is it only going to be like 1 or 2 games?
Yeah, that one is week 7, I believe. So, I mean, week 8, right?
Week 8, yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of figure at that point, maybe Deshaun Watson gets a 2-game, 4-game, 6-game suspension, and then he is back by that game. Maybe he is not back by that game. Maybe he doesn't get a suspension at all. I don't know. But, I mean, you kind of figure when players get these suspensions, it's usually 2, 4, 6 games depending on the severity and the issue. I mean, sometimes it's a full season, whatever, but that's just kind of the norm. So when I saw where that game was placed and it being on prime time, that was kind of where my mind went, is maybe the league is expecting that he's going to be gone for the first quarter of the schedule or what have you.
Yeah, they're not going to schedule him. It's scheduled to be prime time and him not play. That just doesn't make any sense.
I wouldn't think. Yeah, I wouldn't think either. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens there. That's obviously a very touchy and ugly situation, as we all know. So,
we'll just leave it.
Quite honestly, I know Deshaun Watson. I got a post. I think it's coming up on Cincy Jungle. I don't know if it's been posted yet or not, to be honest with you, but I kind of do a schedule breakdown. I do like way too early predictions on games. And kind of one of the thing I said is everybody's expecting Deshaun Watson to come out of the gates, whether he gets a suspension or not, come right out of the gates and be the guy he was a couple of years ago, and the superstar, and just mesh right into this offense, and everything's going to be hunky dory, and he's going to get him right to the top of the division. That very well could happen. He's a very talented player. I mean, we know that, but there's also the year off of football, maybe even longer if there is a suspension. How does he truly fit into this offense? Are they going to change everything on offense to fit more what Deshaun Watson does? they got Amari Cooper, but no more Jarvis Landry, no more OBJ. You know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts to that. Obviously, he's got the run game to lean on and a good offensive line, but no JC Treader either at center. So,
which I'm surprised he hasn't been signed by anybody. But to be honest, he's still
probably age. Yeah, probably age. I would think, but I mean, yeah, he was an effective player for them for sure. So, I think some of this, like Deshaun Watson's going to lead them to, straight through the AFC North and deep into the AFC right away. I just personally feel like that's a little premature. We know he's talented, but there are a lot of other variables to consider with this whole thing here.
Well, I think too, you can look at it whenever he starts playing, there's going to be rust. Just look at Chase last year. Everybody's talking about the drops. Well, I kept saying, well, he took a whole year off football. Well, Deshaun Watson's taking a whole year off football. So there's going to be a little bit of rust. So to beginning of the season. Now, if he gets it going by the end of the season, I would say yes, probably. But beginning of the season, for them to take right off, I would be surprised.
Yeah. We'll see here. There's so many, like I said, there's just so many things to consider with this whole thing.
Right.
So
exactly. Let's get to crime time here.
I was wondering if you're gonna he's trying to start a fight with us. I saw that out of the corner of my eye when you were just asking me that there.
I said this on my video. I don't necessarily think that CJ meant it as shade. I don't think he necessarily meant it that way. As a shade towards old teammates. It came across that way. No matter how, to me, the clip you look at, to me, it came across that way. No matter I don't think he meant it that way. Now, the thing that kills me is how sincere is he about all this stuff? Because he's saying the same thing. That's the only thing that drives me. And I love CJ. Don't get me wrong. I love CJ. But it just rubbed me the wrong way, man. That's all I'll say.
Well, I can't comment on the level of genuineness or genuinity. I don't know the right word.
Right.
I'm tired. I can't think of the right word. It's Friday afternoon.
I got you.
I can't tell you how genuine or not he is being with these. I would like to think, based on what the Bengals did last year, that his comments and how he felt about the team and everything he espoused about the team, that it's like, okay, I mean, he meant all of that. Yeah. I'd like to think that he's a genuine guy, a nice guy. He comes off that way. I mean, I've asked him questions in the Super Bowl press conferences and stuff, and he was like the most likable, affable guy of all time.
AC, when they came back from the Super Bowl and I went down to greet him back for the buses, CJ was the only one, literally the only one that walked all the way over and high-fived every single fan that was there. So, like I said, I do believe he's a genuine guy. But
here's the thing, though. I feel like he's also very self-aware. And so he's a self-aware guy. And what I mean by that is he probably saw how things galvanized last year with the Bengals. Maybe even feels that some of that centered around the why not us and all the comments and the rally cries that he coined.
Right.
Now he gets paid a lot of money to go to the Jets team, a similarly young team. Probably not, you wouldn't think maybe as talented, but they've got the young high pick quarterback that's got some talent.
Right.
They've got other kind of a mix of some veterans, but it's still largely a young team. An inexperienced younger coach that is kind of has a decent reputation around the league. So I think he's kind of saying, maybe I can spin this thing. Right. And the Jets players probably saw everything that I said and what the Bengals did last year. Now, if I say the same thing, probably believes it as well, but says something similar, this locker room is going to respond, and they're going to respond maybe in a similar way that the Bengals did last year, or at least that's his hope. So I kind of take it honestly with a grain of salt, and I guess I can kind of see why some people would be like, well, why didn't you even mention, or why didn't you even make the comparison to Joe Burrow? Right. Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of like, let's just move on.
I mean, I don't think it's a huge deal. It just hit me wrong when I first saw it. I mean, I've kind of calmed down from it when I first saw it. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? I've kind of calmed down from it a little bit. Like I said, I don't really think he meant anything by it. I just think he could have worded it a little different. But I said, he's trying to hype his team up. I totally get it. Let's get to Crypt Keepers here. Comedy says, Mr. AC, the Godfather, we got a second helmet this year. Would you like to see the white helmet with black stripes, or a black helmet with orange stripes, or the throwback?
Throwback. Give me throwback. Give me the Ken Anderson era, pre 1981. Give me the pumpkin heads. Give me the letter. You know what's funny is growing up. Sometimes I would see. I mean, when I grew up, it was all about the tiger stripe helmets and the uniforms. And, oh wow,
Right.
And as I was young, I would look back and like, here's the Bengals, and they showed them with the lettering. I'm like, what is this? Oh my God! I was like, that's the same team.
Yeah, no.
And so, but now, as I don't know, maybe I'm just getting to be an old man and just getting to talk with Ken Anderson a few times. I just totally am like, you know what? You've seen the gross honeybee uniforms from the Steelers. You've seen those terrible Green Bay Packers ones that are like blue and yellow and brown.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like, at least, even if it's like once every 3 years or something like that, let them do like one of these primetime games. Maybe the night they do the Ring of Honor inductions, maybe that night you let them use those uniforms and you throw back. Or the other ones I like were the the mid to late 90s, the Puma ones or Reebok ones that had the tie, the Corey Dillon era. I remember that one pretty vividly. But I would go throwback personally. And you don't need to do it like 3 times a year. Just do it once. Once.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, the funny thing is these Steeler fans wear those ugly beehive jerseys, and they wear them with pride. I'm like, that is the ugliest uniform I've ever seen. It's terrible. But I mean, if they do the helmet, like I said, I want the whole uniform. Throw everything, head to toe, the whole thing, the original.
The throwback wouldn't go with the newer stuff. Yeah,
exactly. And the other, if we had a choice, the other one that I would think would be cool is the white helmet with black stripes to go with the all white uniform. I think that would look slick. Yeah. But if I got to choose one, I want the old pumpkin head ones. And the funny thing is, back in the day, I always kind of thought we had some of the dumbest helmets when it was just Bengals across. I'm like, because to me, we look like the damn Browns. I'd say if you ever watch any of the old 70s Browns Bengals, like those uniforms look almost exactly the same. So that's why look, the Bengals striped helmet to me is the coolest helmet in all football because we're the only one that it goes all from one side to the other. It covers the whole helmet. It's and the Steelers.
I love it.
The Steelers are the only ones that have a sticker on one side, which I still have never understood why they do that. To me, that's still stupid.
Yeah. There's probably a reason for that. I haven't really cared enough about them to research.
Exactly. I haven't really cared much to find out, but I've always thought it was dumb. But anyway, so today we had the first day, or actually only day of rookie minicamp, and I got to go out there on the bridge crew, and I got to see Dax Hill and Cam and all these guys out there running around in shorts and a t-shirt, and everybody's like, how'd they look? I'm like, they look great to me. I mean, I'm excited to watch these guys. Like I said, I keep talking about the speed of this secondary. I think it's going to be a game changer for what Lou Anarumo can do with the speed and with the versatility that we have with these new guys.
And it's funny. Sometimes you pick when they're project players or maybe players not in the first round where they're a complete product, so to speak. You sometimes draft either athletes that you want to mold into a specific position or guys who maybe have really good tape but don't test well, type of thing. A lot of these guys, depending on where you are looking, but I mean, Taylor Britt, both. Right, tested well and has some good tape. Right,
well, so they both play corner and safety, so they're DBs. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They both play Hill. I think they both play a slot too, right? And outside? Am I right?
And then Tyson Anderson. I mean, it was a lower level of competition at Toledo there, but I mean, he made some plays and has a really high athletic profile. So this goes back again, I think, a little bit to look at what's in your division, look at what you got to face regularly, and look at it's not even just in the AFC North. It's the Chiefs, it's the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. It's these teams that have loaded up at skill positions and a lot of speed elsewhere. You gotta keep up with the Joneses, right? I mean, you got to be able to chase with, tackle, and knock away passes to negate these big plays that these teams are inevitably going to try and get on you here. So that's kind of what I'm excited about with the secondary. And then I saw I think it was from Mike Petralia, the tweet of I love that guy.
He's on my show yesterday.
Oh, awesome. He and I think it was James Rapine and others were asking questions of Cordell Volson, and I am starting to love this guy. He's got a massive chaw on his mouth in the locker room. Right after practice, I'm going, this is a dude. This guy's a dude.
Well, I think he's a that's the stuff in his neck that Frank Pollock was talking about. He just got it in his lip. So
he's literally eating glass, right? If he's got that stuff, right? Fiberglass, right?
Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up. And Anthony, this is so cool. And what I love is we only got one spot early on the offensive line to worry about. That's left guard. Now, I got a feeling this doesn't bode well for Jackson Carman. I don't know. I think they want him to be that guy, but I really think they like Volson. And my personal favorite, who I think is got the best shot, is Deontay Smith. And everybody keeps saying, well, he's tackle. I'm like, I understand that. We don't need a starting tackle. We need a starting left guard. And he can also, if he's a starting left guard, somebody gets hurt, he can always jump out to tackle. That's the guy who I would like to see there. But decent glass eater, Volson, and he's already eating glass, got the stuff in his mouth. I mean, that's a Frank Pollock guy. So
yeah, it's between those three guys. And I hate to use the kind of, I guess, draft cliche on this here, but I guess kind of stick with me on this a little bit. But Volson to me is a guy that maybe has the highest floor of the three, maybe the lowest ceiling. And I don't mean that really as a total insult, but just a guy maybe who it doesn't have necessarily the upside of Deontay Smith, Jackson Carman, but I think also maybe doesn't have as big of a learning curve as those two, and maybe and that comes with age. He's older than them, and
he played college for 6 years. So yeah,
right. So I mean, I think that, but if you look at Deontay Smith, I think he may have the lowest floor, and that goes along with where he was drafted, but also potentially the highest ceiling of the three.
Yeah. Right. That's where I'm at with it.
And I would say Jackson Carman kind of slots in the middle of those cliches that I'm using here, though. I've been a big Deontay Smith fan, and I think that's where you drafted him explains the low floor, high ceiling type of comparison. But again, developmental tackle ability, potential to help you out at guard, maybe even right away and take a starting spot. It was kind of like, it seemed like last year it was like, well, I mean, he looks pretty good. We have a problem at guard. Let's just see if it works. And then they go, what do you know? He's actually decent at it. So, I mean, so I'm really interested. And I think you had him on your show recently, right?
I did. I had him on last week. He's the first current Bengal I've had on. So hopefully that's
awesome.
Sign of things to come. But
so I'm
that has nothing to do with me picking him. I was picking him before this.
No, I know. I'm giving you a virtual high five on the guest list there. But I'm interested to see what he does, where he gets placed, because it might be a situation where we're talking Volson, because he's the new pick. We're talking Jackson Carman because we're so certain that that's what that they really want him to work out, when in fact they're just going to continue to give Smith reps here and there and just kind of be like, we can't get this guy off the field. We can't get him out of the lineup because he's just showing more. Right. So I'm really interested to see how training camp works for him.
Yeah, because I'm expecting from Carman and Smith a big jump this year, because usually that if they're going to make a jump, the biggest jump they make is from the first year to the second year. Their heads will stop spinning as much, so hopefully they'll be able to plant their feet and move forward. And that's what I'm expecting from both of them. And like I said, the other reason that I think Deontay Smith, his ceiling is higher. He is more athletic. He's bigger. His feet are better. His feet are better than Jackson Carman. I don't know a whole lot Colson. I haven't really got to look a whole lot of tape on him. But Colson also comes in. Like I said, he played college for 6 years. He was on multiple championship teams, D2 or whatever you call it. It's still a championship team. So that's the pedigree that the Bengals like bringing in. Their guys have been on winning cultures, winning teams, captains, stuff like that. So he fits all that. So I think it might be an uphill battle for Jackson Carman. And like you said, they haven't been able to get Deontay Smith off the field. And if he did get hurt last year, I think he's starting over Carman there toward the middle of the season when he got hurt.
It's possible. I know they really liked him, and I would have been really interested to see where he would have ended up here. But you look at the interesting thing with Smith is they may still view him as a long-term project. This still may be a developmental year, particularly when he didn't play in college. I think he played one game his final year in college.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And
think
then
it's that, yeah.
and then last year was kind of a wash because of the injury and stuff. And then you've got him this year, kind of again trying to play catch up for where does he fit? Is he a backup swing tackle for the time being? Maybe vie for guard. But this also could be a thing where you look at Carmen, you look at Volson, and if it doesn't work with them after this year, you still have Smith under contract for the next couple of years, and you can still develop him this year. And so maybe the plan isn't Smith in 22. Maybe the plan is Smith somewhere in 23, right?
Yeah,
So Smith
right.
somewhere. Maybe he's a guy because they exercise Jonah Williams' fifth-year option. Maybe he's a guy that they want to give a look after that contract is up with Williams, right? I mean, I think he's a long play, whereas they need potentially Carmen. Well, definitely Carmen. They would like him to work out now, and potentially Volson. They'd like to see some immediate yield there. But I kind of see Smith as more of a long-term. Let's kind of be methodical and see where it goes with him. I could be totally off base on that, but that's just my thinking.
Yeah. No, I think they wholeheartedly want Carmen to take that job because they spent a second round pick on him. So like we've said a lot, they drafted him there for a reason. So they believed he can do it. So they put too much time and money into him to just walk away from him right now, I think.
Yeah, and I think I saw someone, I think it was in your comments, saying, I don't know why they picked Carmen. Well, they picked Carmen because, number one, they liked him. He played at left tackle at Clemson, blocking the blind side of one of the best quarterbacks in recent college football history, and Trevor Lawrence. And he was young. He was big. They knew a lot about him because he was a local kid. And then, necessity. They needed someone that they could maybe develop into a tackle, but also maybe help at guard potentially immediately. That was what they wanted. It didn't work out last year. So I think, unfortunately, as I went down the laundry list of why they picked him, I think, unfortunately, necessity was the one that topped the list.
Right, exactly.
And so, yeah. But the back issues and all that kind of weight issues, all that kind of stuff that plagued him last year. Hopefully he's grown from that.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing, Anthony, is how cool is it that we're only talking about one position on the offensive line? That's all we're worried about. Everything else is cake, dude. We're good. We got glass eaters. We got guys with stuff in their neck. We got some maulers
or their lip. Yeah. Stuff their neck. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's going to be so cool to watch Jackpot Joey Burrow be able to take a 5-step, 7-step drop, hang out, eat a sandwich, and F it, Jamar's down there somewhere, and sling it and not have to worry about getting hit this year. That I can't wait. And that's why and you know me, I got my orange colored sunglasses on, which they're around here somewhere. But I think they got a shot at dropping 40 on people. I know it's a big get.
It is. I just had a thought that I haven't shared, and I don't know. I haven't really heard many people share about the Bengals. I don't know. And this is really, kind of digging into the weeds a little bit and maybe daydream thinking a little bit. But when we talk about the revamping of the offensive line, we've talked about Mixon being a big benefactor. We've talked about, just Burrow being able to have a 5-step drop, get rid of the ball, 7-step drop, get rid of the ball, unlike many times last year. But what about like the backyard football aspect of Joe Burrow's game? Think about if he has way more time up front and instead of, hitting that drop, what if nobody's initially open? Maybe the coverage is there, but instead of the blocking breaking down and then it's a sack, he can move and wait and move and wait. And then someone becomes open. And so some of these things that were used to be sacks or hits or incompletions or whatnot, because of pressure, if they can hold up front a little longer, he can play that style of backyard football, ad lib a bit more. And we may see some of those more wow plays that we haven't seen the last couple of years with him because the blocking has been largely poor in the pass protection. So I don't know.
I like
it. Again, daydream thinking, but
you know who that reminds me of? Patrick Mahomes. How many times has he done that? Just circled around, circles back.
Early Ben Roethlisberger did it.
Yeah, and just chucked it. And that's that dude. You're getting me excited, AC. Yeah. I'm getting you more fired up. I'm like, that's what we get to look forward to. I mean, and now I would say, knock on wood, we gotta be healthy. we can't go lose anybody. But that's why I know 40 points is a big get, but that's where I'm like, dude, there's so much they could do. And you brought up Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's going to run behind the best line he's ever ran behind in his NFL career. And I don't think it's going to be a run or a heavy run oriented offense, but I think it's going to be more quality instead of quantity. I mean, he's going to be able to make his first cut beyond the offensive line more often than not this year. And the one guy that I'm really looking forward to is and I've talked about this a couple of times, is we don't really have a fourth wide receiver, not one that anybody's really comfortable with.
I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
I've kind of thrown this out there. Is Chris Evans. That he can be more of the Ginsu knife guy, punt returner. You can split him out wide. You can put him in the backfield. I'm hoping they're going to use him more like that this year.
That's the hope. And unfortunately for Evans last year, I mean, P. Ryan got a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay. But even when Evans was in there, instead of being a third down outlet passing option, which he was sometimes, but he was asked to pass protect, right? Pick up a blitzer, that sort of thing. And you go back to, unfortunately, Giovanni Bernard was criminally underused because that poor guy, and he was very good at picking up blitzes. He's very good for his size, picking up blitzes and whatnot. But instead of Andy Dalton being able to use him as an outlet towards the later years of his time in Cincinnati, Gio, because the line was porous, Gio had to be used as an extra blocker so many times. And it worked a lot, but I mean, you just take away a passing option that could convert an easy third down had you had a more capable offensive line, and you can use a weapon like that. So then again, now when you improve one facet of your team, it just opens things up for all kinds of other position groups, which it's like a full ripple effect, which I like about the offensive line.
Another thing I'm curious about is Hayden Hurst. How much of an opportunity is he going to get in this offense now? Because he's not as good a blocker as CJ, but they won't need him to block as much as they did with CJ last year. How much is that going to open up for him? He's actually going to be able to go out and be an option more often than I think CJ was last year. So that's another weapon that they're going to be able to utilize more this year with the improvement of the offensive line.
Yeah, John Sheeran and I talked about this on Wednesday on our show, and I don't expect Hurst to have 80 catches and close to 1,000 yards and all that. Right. But where I see the volume coming is in the touchdown column. Yes. I see it coming. I see it coming in the red zone. I see it coming in receptions that convert to first downs. I see the catches going back to your quality over quantity type of thing. I see the catches yielding big plays, drive extending plays, turning maybe something that would have been a punt, turn it into a field goal opportunity, or a field goal opportunity into a touchdown reception. I see that being a part. Now, he hasn't been a touchdown machine in his time in the league, but I see him potentially as a guy that as you get down to the red zone, Chase is commanding attention, Higgins is commanding attention, Mixon's commanding attention, and you've got this big guy here that you can just throw it up to, and maybe he has 6, 7, 8 touchdowns catches this year as a nice surprise, and as a producer in this offense, really because he's a big target in the red zone, but also because of the attention that the other guys are going to be getting.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a tight end threat like that since I can't remember his name. Eifert, thank you. That was the last one. I mean, CJ was good, but he wasn't the red zone threat that Eifert was, and he's not the red zone threat that we think Hayden Hurst will be. So that again, this just goes to my point where we got a shot at dropping 40 on people. I think. I don't know if we're going to do it consistently, but we're going to put a lot of points up and on board. I think these teams are going to have to try to play catch up with us, and it's going to be hard for them because I think we're going to get ahead of them, and they're going to have to throw the ball, and we got all these DBs with speed and everything, so it plays the perfect in their hands.
Well, and what was the Bengals' Achilles heel last year? Even with the great season, it was the offensive line, and in the postseason, they had to settle for field goals almost every single offensive drive that they moved the ball instead of touchdowns. I think Burrow only had a couple of touchdown passes in the postseason, and one of the touchdowns they did score was Mixon throwing the ball in the Super Bowl, to Higgins. So instead of settling, and granted, McPherson's awesome and he was amazing in the postseason, but if you took maybe half, and obviously they only lost one game there, but I mean, how different would the postseason have been in general in terms of the closeness of the games, the scores, the end result of the Super Bowl, if you had some red zone offense, which of course also gets attributed to offensive line play. You have to have offensive line play to be able to get the ball in the red zone. So the Bengals, again, remedying the offensive line, then
huge.
potentially remedy the other issue, which was the red zone offense in the postseason. So
Exactly. It's huge, man. I can't emphasize how much of a huge upgrade this is and how much a difference it's going to make. Real quick, I'll get the crime time here and I'll let you go. He says, now let's get your rating ups and let's talk about what we all came here for now. How was the new long snapper and punter? I have no idea. I saw him from afar. So I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Clark Harris, when you know what the game folding is, right? Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's where you're throwing the football to bowl, right?
Yes. Yeah. Clark was snapping it and knocking pins down. I mean, it was ridiculous. I was watching him. I wish I would have got my phone out and videoed it. It was ridiculous
awesome.
how he was. I'm like, I asked him last night. I said, is the same spin trajectory kind of the same from snapping it to throwing? He goes, yeah, it's kind of is. And he cracks me up. He's just kind of like, it's nonchalant. I'm like, dude, that's really good what you do. Not everybody can do that. So I got to talk to him last night and Drew Christian, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know if Drew Christian's going to be the starting punter or Kevin Huber. I mean, Huber is a Bearcat, and it's going to be most likely his last year. If he makes it, he'll be the all-time games leader, I think, and games played, I think, if he makes it. But we'll see. It's going to be interesting. But I think Clark Harris is still going to be the long snapper. I
think so too. I think so too. The rookie Cal Adamitis, though, there's a cool article, shameless self-promotion time on Cincy Jungle. I didn't write it, but on Cincy Jungle, there's a cool article there about how he was a leader on that Pitt team, and I think he raised something like $120,000 or $140,000 for pediatric cancer research while he was in college, and he had the flowing mane like Clark Harris, donated his hair and got other teammates to kind of do the same for cancer and raising a bunch of money. So cool story behind that. And again, plays into, even though he wasn't a guy they drafted, but a guy they brought in, high character guy that does a lot of things, well respected on his own team. So go check out that article a little bit about the new guy, Cal Adamitis, the long snapper. Pretty good story behind the guy.
Exactly. All right, AC, you've been on for almost an hour. Tell everybody about your podcast. You plugged a little bit of Cincy Jungle. Plug whatever you want. Because if I don't let you plug stuff, why are you coming on here? So go ahead and plug away.
Why? Because I come here for the fellowship, the chats. That's what I come. So cincyjungle.com. I do some writing there, and our podcast is housed there, part of the channel. And the Orange and Black Insider is the name of the podcast. We also have Matt Minnick doing his thing on the podcast channel, Coach Speak and Chalk Talk. So we do a lot of different stuff. We run through headlines, we bring on guests, we do some deep dive analysis stuff, we do listener questions, all kinds of different stuff. Try and do things most of the days of the week. I can't keep up with you, my friend, doing it every day, but I try to. And we have some fun, and we have a YouTube channel, and we're on all the audio streamers. So check it out if you would. We have some fun with it.
Exactly. And I appreciate you guys from Cincy Jungle always coming on. Minnick's been on. You've been on a million times. John's been on. So, and your former guys.
I'm surprised you keep inviting me, my friend.
Hey, I told you, you're one of my favorite guys. I always come here and chop it up.
I appreciate that.
Dude, that's what's cool. We just sit here and hang out. I mean, I write some notes down, and other than that, we just wing it. And it's a lot of fun. So I always enjoy having you on and John and everybody else on there.
Well, it's a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
It's the weekend, brother. Did you hear I got Bronson Arroyo coming on in a couple weeks?
I did. That's a good guest, man.
Yeah,
good for you.
I'm kind of happy. Maybe I'll get Lou. Hopefully Darren Simmons, or I don't know, maybe Evan McPherson, who said he'd come on my show. See, this is my ploy to Evan. When I see him, I'm like, look, Evan, I was on your bandwagon before you became famous. Okay, I was there first, so hopefully he'll jump on. But anyway, AC, as always, brother, I appreciate you, and let's do it again sometime.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sounds good. Who day, brother?
Who day. See you later.
All right, guys. Oops. Oh, there we go. I almost hit the wrong button. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was Anthony Cosenza. He's from Orange and Black Insider Podcast and Cincy Jungle. And guys, go check them out. Him and John Sheeran do a great job. Matt Minnick does a great job. I always appreciate having those guys on my show. And I appreciate you guys always watching my show. Because like I say, if it wasn't for you guys paying attention to what I'm doing, it would be no reason for me to do this. Let me give a shout out to the Facebook groups that let me live stream. And as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys there. Who Day Nation, Who Day Legion, Cincinnati Reds riding third, heading for home, Bearcat Ruckus, Bearcat Country, the Ohio State Bucknuts, and the Ice Bar. And then you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all on all under Sports with Strawberry Eyes. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trenopole. TikTok is at Iceman90. I plan on pulling the sound off and putting it on the podcast later on. I haven't done it that much. If you subscribe to my podcast, there might be a whole bunch of them that get uploaded this weekend because I've been slacking on uploading the podcast. But I always ask you to please rate, like, and review. I'm on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you rate, like, and review. Give me a 5-star review. Leave a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. As always, please subscribe. Please continue to subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm at 1,671 subscribers. That is also, I'm almost catching up to Cincy Jungle. I'm almost catching up to, well, not really Ace. Ace got like 10,000 or something. I got a ways to go to get up to my boy Ace. But I'm trying. So tell your friends, tell your neighbors about Sports with Strawberry Ice. Make sure you are subscribed. You are locked in because last night I went live and you can watch me and Corey as our great attempt of fooling last night and how we were dominating all the way up until we ran into Bengal Jim and Dell. And then, unfortunately, they beat us. But I'm going to practice. Okay, and next year it's on. And I'm Sam Hubbard. I'm coming for you. I'm going to be in that championship next year. Just letting you know. Anyway, you guys have a great weekend. I'll see you Monday. Got a lot of great guests coming up Monday. I didn't plug this one, Dave Lapham. I'm going to record a episode with him on Monday. So stay tuned to the channel. That will be coming out. I got Paul Dana Jr. coming on next week. I got Bengals Whitney coming on next week. I got my boy Willie Lutz coming on. I got all kinds of people. Hopefully, one of these days, it'll be Darren Simmons, Lou Anarumo, Shooter. I'm working on it. You guys have a great weekend. And other than that, that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. Stripes, 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 stripes. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black, and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite in our stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers stripe the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin' who they, time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Blue day in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise and in the jungle we unite and dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Stripes. Now who wanna move dancing on? Stripes. Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock them, yeah we got them, yeah we fought them. Like that black and orange, I'll